Hello everybody, Andy here, your number one source for jaded bitterness, I don't know. Anyway, so Games Workshop, if you didn't see, because you saw Warhammer Age of Sigmar and you thought, I don't care about that, I'm not going to read that article or watch the video I just did earlier on that. Well, folks, focusses and foci, it's possible that we actually learn a little bit about the future of Kill Team from this. Join me in this journey and let's have some ponderings. I'm going to say right now, first off, we know nothing. This is pure speculation based on some decisions that GW has made regarding removing Age of Sigmar models and how we may be able to apply that to Kill Team. And this isn't looking at models that are 20 years old and saying, oh, they removed them from the range. That sucks for us. Not at all. This is removing models that are a year old. So when we're thinking about Kill Team 3rd edition, which we expect it, I'll get to that in a moment, we can now think maybe our models aren't moving over. Let's go down and have a look. Let's look at the salient points and then I'll chat a bit of Kill Team. So the article starts off saying we're getting rid of a bunch of stuff. Sure enough, a whole load of Stormcaster going. If you didn't watch my other video, I think this is a good thing. Now, I don't have any of these models. Well, actually, that's not true. I have some, but I don't care. There's way too many data sheets. Good. Skaven, these are terrible models. These are the models that are 50 years old. They've been around. They founded Games Workshop, you know, and they're going. Bone Splitters, yeah, again, old models, fine. And then we get to some interesting stuff. So, we get to the Slaves to Darkness. Now, for those of you unaware, these are Warcry models. Yeah, just straight up. All of these are Warcry models. Everything from the Tarantulas Brood. I believe, off the top of my head, the Tarantulas Brood was the final, well, joint with the Dark Elves. The final warband that was released for the last edition of Warcry. Okay, so this is pretty much all of the bespoke teams plus Kagra's Ravagers, which is weird because they're an Underworld team. Not the point, just weird. That were released for the original Warcry. Now, keep in mind that the original Warcry was, 4 years ago. Fine, whatever. They had a whole edition to live in, and then they got a compendium for the last, what are we at? 2 years? A year and a half at least of the new edition of Warcry. Cool. Fine. It is what it is. Whatevs. Good to know. However, Horns of Hashut. Hashy Boys. Horns of Smoke and Hash, I don't know. They are brand new. They were the, I'm going to say third? No, they were released in this edition of Warcry. At one point, I had them. They were released in the starter box alongside the Rotmire Creed. So they are a year old? Max, they are a year and a half old, I think. That rings I think that's correct. Maybe I'm completely misunderstanding things and they're actually 2 years old. But that's it. That is a max. That is a 2-year-old model release. Gone. I want to be clear. They are no longer going to be produced in any form. Who knows? Maybe they get a re-release, but that's not what this article says. This article says they are gonzo, bro. Cool. Everything else, I'm a little bit more empathetic to, I like getting hyped for things. New models means new hype. I don't actually care too much about old models getting binned, squatted, pruned, pruneronied, whatever, because I'm pretty flex when it comes to proxying. If I were to start a Dark Oath warband faction in Age of Sigmar, and I had all of these models, they would just be my Dark Oath warband. Like my faction, my normal troops. There you go. So it's almost a nothing. are nothing to me. Cool. That's my stance on squatting the models. More could be said. However, let's now take this forwards to what could it mean for Kill Team 3rd edition. So, for those of you unaware, if you're clicking on this stuff because you've got a fear in your heart for not wanting to buy into current Sigmar, maybe Kill Team, because you don't know what's coming in 6 months, etc., etc. So we expect, due to the way Games Workshop typically works, that in 6 months' time, so we're looking at September, a new edition of Kill Team is going to release. Okay, that's the current expectation. We don't know anything else. In fact, we don't even know that. Again, that is pure speculation. We believe it's true, and we have really, really, really strong, good sources that say it. But nothing official, because GW never says anything official until the last possible second. Cool, that's fine. So in 6 months' time, September, everything in Kill Team will change. We have no idea to what degree, we have no idea how much. And the number one question, of course, is what happens to our existing models? I have a whole shelf right there. These are random Age of Sigmar models that I was painting on the live stream. Ignore them, they're just there from the last video. I have a whole shelf, and that shelf is full, and I've had to spin out to other shelves of Kill Team warbands, factions, gangs, whatever they might be called. Kill teams, yeah, that makes sense. What happens to them? We don't know. In the past, I've been pretty certain about what's going to happen to them. Not because I know anything, well, that's facts. Just pure guesswork, and I've been looking at what Warcry did to kind of take that as our lead. So if you don't know, Warcry, it released all of these models here in the first edition of Warcry, which was 2017, whatever, 5 years ago. And then for the next edition of Warcry, they released a Compendium, and the Compendium was all of these factions. So it was all of the first edition factions updated. Updated is a strong word. They were all given one new rule because the core rules in Warcry added a new thing called reactions, and they just gave everything was identical, but hey, here's a reaction for every old warband, and that was the Compendium. I have been pretty, that seems like a totally sensible thing that Kill Team can do as well. They can take all of these bespoke teams, good luck getting any of those rules ever, right? Put them into one book for us. There you go. That's your Compendium for 3rd edition. This edition of Kill Team's Compendium goes away. None of those are available. Every currently bespoke team, bring that over. We're going to prune it down so you don't get your faction ploys or anything, or narrative rules. You're all just bog basic. You can only take any of those 4 archetypes, which presumably will be new archetypes, who knows. And if they do add in any new reaction type ability, they will give them all one of those as well. And then they're done. And that's it. That's the Kill Team 3 Compendium. Cool. Now, this throws a little bit of a spanner in the works. Because, this is pretty big. These are modern sculpts. These aren't the Skaven. Okay, these are models that you legitimately could have begun being a new player and begun your journey in Warhammer with some of these models. Say what you will, Sigmar has some of the best sculpts out there. Really I hate the lore. The large game's questionable at best because that's the Games Workshop engine. But these models, I guarantee people began playing and collecting wargaming as a whole with some of these releases. And if they're going to scrap some of these, they could definitely scrap some of the stuff for Kill Team, right? It suddenly opens up that possibility, which, to be honest, I hadn't really entertained before. I thought, it's a possibility. You can say maybe they will do this, but I don't see it happening. Now, you could easily extend this logic and say GW kind of runs the numbers and say, Well, actually, and this is my very real possibility for Kill Team here. All of these Kill Team squads have rules in big 40k. Rip Hand of the Archon, rip Hypertech Circle. Everything else has rules in 40k, so mentally we can say, don't worry, in the war, you can envision the Warcom article saying, don't worry, you can still use it in 40k. Thumbs up. But, nah. I don't know, it had just honestly never crossed my mind before that we might actually lose access to all of our specialist teams if a new edition drops. I had always assumed that current edition Compendium was gone. You wouldn't be able to get that again. Bespoke teams become Compendium, but you lose the specialist bespoke parts of it, you just get the data sheets. Makes sense. Now, for the first time, I'm having to consider that maybe we lose the bespoke teams and we keep generic 40k teams. Because you know what? There's more 40k players than there are kill team players. And you still want to bring in that pool from a big new splashy kill team release and promo push campaign, as people are getting bored of 10th again because it's been a year, and let's lure them in with models they already have from their combat patrol boxes, because that's what everybody starts with, which is great because combat patrol boxes are great. If you're a newer 40k player, you don't have these specialist teams. You don't have the Inquisition Arbites, you don't have the Corsairs, you have your combat patrol. That is exactly how the current edition of Compendium was designed. What are the basic troop units? That's what people can take. Now, I had assumed that they would evolve and allow people to bring in the specialist teams. Maybe, as we see here, perhaps they are going to go the other way and say, we still need those 40k combat patrol players. I don't know. There you go. As I said at the beginning, I know nothing. This is just me pitching an idea. Maybe this is the case, how it's going to work. With that said, knowing that all of these are going to go, time to get your orders in, chaps. Which of these do you want? Honestly, I never picked up Scions of the Flame. I would not buy Tarantulas Brood because they're spiders and that's scary. But yeah, I might actually go out and pick up Scions of the Flame because they're flamey dudes, that's cool. And I might pick up Spire Tyrants and Untamed Beasts because they would fit just seamlessly in, you wouldn't even notice they're not the same, with the new Dark Oath models, and also a little bit with the Khorne faction, whatever they're called, for Age of Sigmar. I'm always looking at where you can get value out of your models. So Spire Tyrants and Untamed Beasts have that generic muscle dude, which is Dark Oath and the Khorne Bloodbound dudes. So I might pick them up, because why not? And hey, if you're in the UK, I do have both an Element Games and a Whaling Games affiliate link. Buy through that, it's free for you, gives me a little kickback. Consider that. But yes, to clarify, before I buy those, I will go and check the rest of the sculpts, because I had Untamed Beasts at one time. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. These are my thoughts about Kill Team. Folks, focusses and foci. What are your thoughts? Which way do you think they're going to go with the Compendium? Because again, I'll reiterate one last time, I legitimately thought there is no chance we are losing our specialist models. I might have I did mention it once in a video, like, oh, what's happening? I didn't really think that was the way they were going to go. Now, Horns of Hashut are a year old, and they're gone. What do you think that means for Kill Team? Stay gangster, everybody. Bye.